The Reckitt Index for Leadership is the first global measure of how men and women are viewed in terms of their suitability for leadership. The findings illustrate a continuing failure of the world's most advanced economies to dispel their society's entrenched gender stereotypes. The continued lack of progress in reducing the equality gap between women and men should be a source of concern across government, the private sector, and civil society.
It was very helpful and I learned a lot from the other panelists as well as the great questions from the participants which really helped to deepen our thinking, and anyone who is passionate about gender equality can benefit from being at this talk.
Fruitful discussion that we talked about not just questions about perceptions or stereotypes, but we also talked about policy as well as the difficulties of putting policies and legislation into action and what might the barriers be.
Really interesting questions that came to the panel as we were talking, and it's just really obvious that it's such a complex issue. There's not one single solution that will work to address gender equality, and it really is a big mix of things to do with legislation, but also the role that we can all play as individuals in contributing to a positive outcome.
The event is actually a very important one because it brings together perspective from different stakeholders. We have people in politics, we have people in academia, and we have people who are familiar with the dynamics in and outside of Singapore. This is a great opportunity time to have scholars, practitioners, interested stakeholders together, and it gives a more enriching, a more insightful understanding of gender equality.
With the uncertainties of the pandemic and the global situation, it could create a lot of uncertainty and anxiety in us as human beings. And the tendency is that we will fall back on to norms and things that we're familiar with to cope with this uncertainty. It presents some risks for the momentum of gender equality, and I urge everyone to be conscious of the effects of uncertainty on ourselves and to consciously choose to not fall back on the conditioned behaviours and beliefs, but to look at what the possibilities are ahead of us as both men and women in the future.
We've come a long way to promote gender equality in the workspace, in the community, at home. And I think it's important that we revisit this topic every now and then to ensure that we leave no stone untouched.
It has such a huge impact on the people that experience it, and that's both men and women, so it's not just a women's issue, it's actually something for men and women, and it's certainly something that we can't rely on governments to fix for us. We all have a role to play in a solution.